This one is fabulous.
Yes, fabulous. It's Fabulous 500. Another $5 scratch game from the NLE. Loaded with $500 cash prizes.
With a top prize of $25,000.
You have 10 chances to win.
Fabulous $500.
There's cash to catch with just a scratch. Fabulous. Fabulous 500.
This evening on the VC3 News Update, US-based organizations donates marijuana nutrient products to local traditional cannabis farmers. Two Vincentians selected as official event ambassadors for the 2021 OECS SDM Summit. And St. Vincent and the Grenadines is presently facing the threat of being impacted by two weather systems. Join us at 7 p.m. for these stories and more on the VC3 News Update.
More jackpot money, more reasons to play this game. More money for way. Super 6 a bigger jackpot game.
The Super 6 jackpot for Friday, July 2nd is $210,000. Super 6, more jackpot money.
More jackpot money, more reasons to play this game. More money for way. Super 6 a bigger jackpot game.
Friday, July 2nd. There'll be thousands of dollars to be won. A lotto jackpot of $61,000. A new home, car, or that college education.
Lotto, you have to be in it to win it.
Next lotto jackpot, $61,000.
Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of Round Table Talk. This evening we'll be talking about Dcash, which is all the talk these days in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. And to help us do that, we have on the panel this evening SHARMYN Powell. She is from the ECCB'S FINTECH Working Group, and she's also Chief Risk Officer. We also have the Corporate Marketing Manager of HUGGINS and Company Grenada Limited, NAJUMA Francis, and of course our Executive Director of the local Chamber of Industry and Commerce, Mr. Tony Regisford, will weigh in on the issue as well. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Roundtable Talk. I'm going to start right off with you, SHARMYN. What's all the buzz about? What is Dcash?
Thanks, Teresa. So Dcash is a digital version of our EC currency. The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank has launched a project whereby we're issuing a digital version of the EC currency. So we're going to complement our current physical notes and coins with a digital version of that currency. And the motivation behind this project was really to address some key issues in our environment. Firstly, we look at payment system efficiency. We want to ensure that the frictions that we currently recognize in the payment system can be addressed. Such frictions include the cost of making payments and the time for settlement of payments. And so we recognize that these are some hindrances that allow the efficiency of the payment system. And we wanted to ensure that we can introduce a new alternative that allows persons to make payments more efficiently in our region. Secondly, the whole issue of financial inclusion. We recognize across the region there are a number of persons who are either unbanked or underbanked. Unbanked in the sense that they don't have a bank account, either a commercial bank or a credit union. Underbanked is that where they have accounts, but they're not able to enjoy the full benefits of the financial services, given certain restrictions or certain limitations. And so we thought it's important that in this environment where the entire world is moving digital, that every citizen across ECCU had the opportunity to be part of that digital transformation agenda. And so offering Dcash, which is a digital form of payment, provides that for every ECCU citizen. And we also wanted to improve innovation and competitiveness across the ECCU. So by having a digital payment, which is safe, it's fast, it's cheaper, it allows persons to be able to make cross-border payments within the ECCU and thereby expand their market, sell their goods and services much easily across the region. Then persons can be more innovative now because they have a method by which they can actually interact with other members of the ECCU.
Okay, so I know that there are some sister territories that have already introduced Dcash.
Yes.
Which islands are those, and how is that going so far?
So there are Antigua and Barbuda, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Lucia. So in terms of how it's been going, we've seen a steady pace of Dcash transactions. So to date, we have 12 financial institutions that are onboarded, 5 agencies, 92 merchants, and over 2,100 end users who have signed on to Dcash. Some of the challenges we've had, which has somewhat hampered the rate at which Dcash has caught on, has been the COVID-19 pandemic. For example, currently in St. Kitts and Nevis, in St. Kitts in particular, we're on the lockdown due to a recent spike in COVID cases. So that has somewhat hampered our efforts to push Dcash. Earlier on, around the launch time, we had similar situations in Antigua and Barbuda where they had restricted movements due to COVID. But generally speaking, we've seen a steady flow of transactions. And as we continue our marketing campaign over the next 3 months, we expect to see a significant uptick in the take-up for Dcash.
Okay, I'm going to bring in NAJUMA from Grenada. You have the distinction, your company at least has the distinction of being the very first entity to conduct the transaction. Tell us about that.
Yes, definitely. So we were privileged to be able to be the first company to transact that Dcash transaction earlier in February here on the island. Our very own CEO was the person conducting the transactions at our supermarket. Our company is one that is large. We have a number of different departments, business units, and a supermarket, HUGGINS Foodland, is part of that. And so our CEO went into the supermarket, picked up some items, but prior to doing that, she onboarded her wallet with Dcash. So she exchanged physical cash for Dcash, and then she was able to pay for her items using Dcash at our supermarket.
Okay, so how has business changed since you have introduced this new way of doing business?
Well, it provides our customers an additional payment method to be able to obtain their grocery items. Now, I must say that our company, HUGGINS, operates twofold. We're a merchant and we're also an agency. So through our supermarket, we provide that merchant service where persons can go and onboard their wallet, as well as pay for their goods, and as an agency in terms of approving the applications made by customers. So it is something new to us. We're excited to continue to be part of this Dcash initiative.
Okay, Tony, I want to bring you in now. How do you see this panning out here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? What's your take?
Well, thank you, Teresa. Thank you for having me. And let me say good evening to your my fellow panelists, and also your viewers. The Chamber of Industry and Commerce here in St. Vincent we've been advocating for the use of digital transactions for quite a while, and we're trying to pick up that tempo. The use of cash, and I'm sure SHARMYN would be able to give you some detail there if she has it handy. But I think St. Vincent, in the current union, I think St. Vincent ranks the highest in terms of use of cash to do transactions. So what that says, Teresa, is that other islands in the current union and in the wider Caribbean too, they're moving away, or they are using more digital forms of payment at the rate of adoption is higher than ours. And that's a bothersome thing for us as business people. Digital currency, as SHARMYN pointed out, is very inclusive because their product will bring in the unbanked people. And that means a lot of the unbanked people operate in the informal sector, but they themselves are business people. They're not necessarily business people that have a business to grow, but a business for survival, but still important. And the ease at which virtual money can change hands argues very well for the increase in the transfer of goods and services. My members in the chamber, unfortunately, are, to me, not tuned in enough to the use of digital transactions, and that's some work that I hope that the chamber can do. And I welcome Dcash, because I know there's an education piece to this whole pitch to take up on it, because you're going to have to convince people that this is a better way to go. And with that will come the education about managing cash as opposed to money sitting directly into your account. Having cash on premises and all that sort of thing. Your auditing procedures, your whole management procedure for having cash reconcile at the end of the day. A lot of those issues are removed when you're in the digital plane. So, how does you ask me a question? I'm going on for too long, Teresa.
That's fine.
You want me to talk about Dcash specifically? How do I see it panning out? I welcome it. It's potentially a disruptor in the way we do things, and I think disruption is needed. So I am all for working with the central bank and to see what we can do as a chamber to partner with them to help drive their penetration rates, and also help us to build the awareness of the need to move into digital transactions.
Okay, when we come back from this first break, we're going to talk to SHARMYN about how she plans to encourage people and let them know that this is the way to go. Back in just a moment.
The Super 6 jackpot for Friday, July 2nd is $210,000. Super 6, more jackpot money.
More jackpot money, more reasons to play this game. More money for way. Super 6, a bigger jackpot game.
Friday, July 2nd, there'll be thousands of dollars to be won. A lotto jackpot of $61,000. A new home, car, or that college education.
Lotto, you have to be in it to win it.
Next lotto jackpot, $61,000.
This evening on the VC3 News Update, US-based organizations donates marijuana nutrient products to local traditional cannabis farmers. Two Vincentians selected as official event ambassadors for the 2021 OECS SDM Summit. And St. Vincent and the Grenadines is presently facing the threat of being impacted by two weather systems. Join us at 7 p.m. for these stories and more on the VC3 News Update.
Welcome back. And before we continue in our discussion, and SHARMYN would explain how the education process will go, there's a question someone wants to know. Is there any comparison to Bitcoin, and how do we control or regulate this Dcash? One for you, SHARMYN?
Yes. So first, let me say that Dcash is not a cryptocurrency. Unlike Bitcoin, Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency, which is unregulated, which is very volatile, meaning the value of Bitcoin changes rapidly, and it can go from very high to very low in a very short space of time. Dcash is a fiat currency. It's a currency that is issued by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, and it's backed by our reserves. So there is no concern about the value fluctuating. If you have $10 Dcash today, it's worth $10 20 years from now. The value does not change. In terms of regulation, so because it's a currency issued by the ECCB, so therefore, the same way we don't have to regulate our physical notes and coins, there's no need to regulate a Dcash. It's only a digital version of our physical coins currently.
Okay. Which brings me to a question. I heard NAJUMA mention something about onboarding her wallet.
Right.
Talk to me about that.
So for access to Dcash, Dcash is access to a digital wallet, which is basically an app on your smartphone. So we have the Dcash app available on the Google Play Store and the Apple Store. Any individual who wishes to have a Dcash wallet will download that app onto their smart device. Now, there are two types of wallet a person can have. You can have a registered-based wallet or a value-based wallet. And the reason for that, we want to make sure everybody can be included. So the registered-based wallet are for those persons who have an existing relationship with a participating financial institution. So, for example, in St. Vincent, we have RBTT, we have Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we have a few credit unions as well. So once you have an existing relationship with one of those institutions, you download the app, you select the option, register with a code. You will get a code from the financial institutions where you have your account. And once you enter your information, your name, telephone number, email address, and your account number at that financial institution, that application goes to your bank, and they will now use that to match against your KYC information, because that part is very critical. So once the bank has your KYC information, they will validate it, and then they will approve your digital wallet. Once you have that done, then you can just transfer funds from your account at that bank to your wallet seamlessly via secure messaging platform. You can transfer funds from your account to your wallet, or vice versa. If you have excess Dcash in your wallet and you want to put it back in your account, you can do that as well. Now, earlier, I spoke about financial inclusion, where we said we wanted all members of the ECCU to have access to Dcash. So for that, we created the value-based wallet. This wallet is for persons who don't have an account at any of our participating financial institutions. And so they can now, using the same app, select the option on register without the code. And that would now go to one of our agents. So they have to provide their name, address, telephone number, and a copy of a government-issued ID and a selfie. And the app will guide them to the process of taking the picture of the ID and also taking the selfie. That goes to the agent. So HUGGINS Limited in Grenada is an agent, and they approve those value-based wallets. Now, because of the higher risk, given that the person has no banking relationship, the limits for the value-based wallets are lower. So they can either be $1,000 per month or $2,700 per month limit for their wallets. But it allows them now to have access to Dcash. And once they have their value-based wallet approved, then what they would do, they would take physical cash, whether it's an agent such as HUGGINS or the equivalent in St. Vincent, or a merchant that offers the exchange services, and they can just hand in physical cash and get the Dcash transfer, the equivalent transfer to their wallet. So that's the service that NAJUMA spoke about that will be offered in St. Vincent and the Grenadines by agents as well.
Okay, so you must have access to a cell phone.
Yes, a smart device, a smartphone.
So what about
and
people
we do know across the region, cell phone penetration is very high, 100% in all the countries.
Okay, so I was just wondering there about the whole question of financial inclusivity, because there might be a lot of people with cell phones, but may not be able to actually operate that particular service?
Well, I think NAJUMA can bear it out. The app is very easy to use. We've made it very user-friendly, so you don't have to have any deep technical skills to use Dcash. It's very simple, and once you get past just entering, it's like fill out a form, maybe on your phone, and once you get past that process, actually doing transactions is very, very simple. You basically, if you're paying a merchant, you just basically scan and swipe to say pay. If you're sending funds to someone else, once you put in their information and the amount, you just swipe and say pay. So we've made it very simple to make sure that even persons who are not tech savvy can use it with ease.
Okay, we don't have any way of demonstrating how simple that app is today, do we?
Not today, but I can do a follow-up program where we can have our team come on and demonstrate actually how payments are done, how to set up the app. We can do that as a follow-up program.
Okay. So someone is asking, who stand to benefit from this scheme? How much technological knowledge is needed to function within this Dcash?
So I would say the people of the ECCU stand to benefit because, for one, it's a safer method of payment than using physical cash. We know when you use physical cash, you run the risk of it getting stolen, you can get robbed, business, whether individual or business, so it is safer in that regard. It is faster. Transactions done using Dcash are completed in 3 to 5 seconds. 3 to 5 seconds compared with, say, a wire transfer or even a debit and credit card payment is much faster and it's cheaper. There is no cost for using Dcash throughout the pilot. So you can add funds to your wallet, you can transfer funds to individuals or businesses, you can effect transactions at business places, and there's no cost. So all of us stand to benefit. So for example, merchants currently who take debit or credit cards, they have a fee to pay, a percentage fee that they have to pay for all credit card or debit card transactions. There is no fee, so that's a savings right there for the merchants. Commercial banks, when they buy physical notes and coins from the ECCB, they have to pay a commission. There is no fee. When they get Dcash from the ECCB, there is no fee. So all of us as a people of the ECCU stand to benefit from Dcash.
Okay. Teresa, if I may add a piece on this whole idea of security, not the security of the platform which the transactions taking place, but your personal security. And so take this example. If you are working for a delivery service, okay, and these are emerging employment means brought about by COVID, but I don't think when COVID normalizes, you will see it disappear. It's just been accelerated. Now, if you own a service like that, Teresa, and you had 6 people out there on scooters delivering pizzas and rotis and what have you, whatever, people's groceries, whatever the delivery is. And so they were filling these orders. But the good thing is, if the buyers were using a digital currency, then your couriers would not have cash. So nobody's going to knock them off their scooter to steal $1,000 or whatever money they think they have. So once that gets ingrained in the culture, right? Once people know, well, look, these guys are not carrying cash, so there's nothing to rob. I use that as an example why we have to move to those platforms. We've got to take cash out of, as much as possible, out of the system. Vinlec, some years ago, you remember, Teresa, was held up by a couple of gunmen. They didn't go in there to get electricity bills, or they didn't go in there to steal furniture. They went in there for one thing and one thing only: cash. Gas stations, you name it. All these people that operate late hours, restaurants getting held up, because people are carrying around cash on them, and the businesses are holding cash. So if that vanishes, then it addresses in a big way a security issue. So this is why we really need, this is, I'm just using that as an example. This is why we really need to push towards doing digital transactions.
Okay. How do you respond to someone who says there are not enough financial laws in SVG for this?
Well, I think persons are still thinking of this in the sense of a cryptocurrency or some other, or that type of instrument. What we need to remember is that this is just a digital version of what you physically have in your purse currently. So what you have in your wallet is notes and coins issued by the ECCB, and this is just a digital version. So there is no need for additional regulation or additional legislation to cover this. Basically, it's still your easy currency. It's still the money that you're accustomed to use on a daily basis. So therefore, it's not something offered by a third party. It's issued by the central bank, backed by our reserves. So whatever persons understand about having their physical currency, it's a similar thing that we are offering, but just in a digital form. So I think it's for persons to understand that this is not one of those other type of payment instruments that are offered by third-party providers, but this is just your central bank, your normal everyday currency, just in a digital form.
Okay. I think where the concern might be as well is that if I have a digital wallet with $1,500 in it, for argument's sake, I mean, it's not a physical, they're not physical notes, so I can't take it from my wallet and put it into my safe, or take it from my safe, put it under my bed, what have you, secure it as I think is secure. You can't see it. So basically, how does the person know that the money is there when they are ready for it, right? It's the same like having a bank account. It's as simple as that. The money is in the bank. The bank does not have your cash stacked away in a safe somewhere. Your particular pile, Teresa, your $2 million is not stashed away in a box in the bank. You get your statements and you know it's there. So I think that's where people get in the little uncomfortable feeling with SHARMYN. But because you are the central bank, I suppose that is one advantage that you have in terms of the confidence of the security of their money. It's there when they're ready for it.
Yes, and at any time you can just log into your Dcash wallet and see what your balance is. So if you're concerned that you had $100 in your Dcash wallet, you want to make sure that you can check 10 times during the day to make sure that balance is still $100. And another important thing to Teresa that we're trying to underscore for the Dcash, it's the whole thing about financial management. And I want to make that very clear, because I think it's an important point, both for individuals, but also for small business owners and those persons in the informal sector. Because very often you find that those persons who are in the informal sector, so farmers, fishermen, bus drivers, taxi operators, etc., they have a business, it's thriving, they're doing okay, but there's no way for them to demonstrate that they're doing okay. So they go to a bank for a loan, for example, to get a piece of farming equipment, to get a new bus or whatever. And the bank says, okay, let me see your financial records to see how has your business been doing. And they have nothing to show. With Dcash, they can pull up the transaction history and they can show all their earnings for any particular period. So they can use the Dcash wallet now to get those financial records that are needed to when they want to approach a financial institution for financing. Also, they can also use that financial record to see how is my business doing, how much did I take in a particular day. If it's physical cash, you might receive the money and spend it in one day and don't have a proper idea of how much you made in a particular day. So it's very important and it's very useful for financial management for these small business owners or the person in the informal sector. And as an individual as well, you can manage your money better because at any point in time, you can see all the transactions that were done on your Dcash wallet and you can make adjustments where necessary.
We'll talk some more about that when we come back in just a moment. This evening on the VC3 News Update, US-based organizations donates marijuana nutrient products to local traditional cannabis farmers. Two Vincentians selected as official event ambassadors for the 2021 OECS SDM Summit. And St. Vincent and the Grenadines is presently facing the threat of being impacted by two weather systems. Join us at 7 p.m. for these stories and more on the VC3 News Update.
Hello and hi.
Hello everyone, I am Shakel Bob. I am a former Miss Pitani, a former Miss Rural SCG and Miss LCD contestant and runner-up. I'm a lawyer by profession but a pageant lover at heart. Do not let the negatives prey on your mind because a stitch in time saves 9. So, it's COVID vaccination time. Get vaccinated today to reduce the impact of COVID-19 in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
And I urge you, get vaccinated. It is safe and it is effective. Stop the spread, help the fight, and make the choice that is right. And let us unite and do the thing right.
Welcome back. When we took the break, SHARMYN, you were into very interesting discourse there. But one of the things I wanted to ask is, I am a van driver, I am a fisherman in Bottomtown. How do I benefit from this service?
As I mentioned just before the break, so you have your Dcash wallet, and so all your customers can pay you via Dcash. So first, you don't have to be handling large amounts of cash. You don't have to worry about you can get robbed because I'm taking in all this cash from my customers. So that's the first thing. Secondly, you now have, at the end of the day, you can have in your Dcash wallet all your takings for the day. And so you know on this particular date, on June 30th, I made $1,000. And so you can keep a record, because very often when you handle cash, you receive the cash, you spend the cash, and at the end of the day, you're not even sure, is your business doing well? Is it worth it? So you have that record, and then you can actually pay your bills. So now you have to go to the supermarket. You can use the Dcash and pay your bills at the supermarket. But importantly, all that is recorded in your wallet. So you can see at that particular day, say June 30th, I received $1,500 from the sale of my farm produce or my fish. I spent $50 at supermarket A. I spent $100 at the pharmacy. So you can manage your funds. It helps to manage your funds better, whereas under normal circumstances, you may not have kept proper records of what you receive and what you spend. So you can actually receive your funds in Dcash, and you can actually pay for your goods and services in Dcash, and you can have a better handle on how your business is performing.
So if I sell my fish, I collect the cash, I take the cash to where?
So, okay, so you use your smartphone. So somebody comes to buy 5 pounds of fish, it's for $50. So on your smartphone, you create a code, the person scans, and the $50 goes into your Dcash wallet. So once the person pays you, so at the end of the day, you will see all the transactions on your Dcash wallet. Now, as a fisherman or as an individual, you can choose at the end of the day to transfer that Dcash from your Dcash wallet to your account at the bank. You can do that. Or if you don't have it, you can just convert it to physical cash if you need physical cash. Or you can just stay in your wallet and you spend it at merchants that accept Dcash. So the option is there. If it's a registered based wallet and you have an account at the bank and you think you want to just transfer some of it, you can do that. Or you can just use it to do your regular, normal, everyday activities. But the funds remain in your Dcash wallet until you move it.
The person who's buying the fish is not using cash. The person who's buying the fish is using Dcash. So
at the end of the day, you don't have physical cash in your hand.
Exactly.
It's just a transaction using your smart
From
device.
one wallet to another wallet.
From
so
one
the person
wallet.
coming to you to buy
Wallet
is using
to
Dcash
wallet.
as well. Wallet to wallet, yes.
Precisely. And if I could add, in terms of the information that the van driver or the fish trader could gather, you can correct me if I'm wrong, SHARMYN, but I'm pretty sure with Dcash, each wallet would have a particular identifier. So
yes.
So if I am a van driver, at the end of the month, I could go back over my records and I could see who's my top customer for the month.
You can see that.
Basically.
And you can do analysis of
I can
different
do,
types of analysis.
I have lots of information there. I can see who rides what route, and well, in terms of based on fare, So Teresa, you see the possibilities for a business person and how they can grow their business based on proper financial records and customer information, which is what Amazon does to us and Facebook does to us already. You know, they've got a lot of data on you and they're able to run very smart algorithms to get your attention because they already profiled you. Okay, so we need to leverage as business people, and I'm speaking with the chamber hat. We need to start thinking in terms of how we can get better customer information. You're not going to get that when people pay you cash. Cash has no trace.
All right. Somebody wants to know, is there a point of sale option that can be utilized like Apple Pay?
Yes, so if you go to our supermarket, pharmacy, or any merchant that accepts Dcash, you can use it as a point of sale payment. So you go to the supermarket, you get your groceries, you get to the cashier, they tally up your groceries, there's an amount, they generate a code, you just scan it and pay. Similar to you do for Apple Pay. It works similar to how Apple Pay works. And in 3 seconds, you will see the amount that you paid, deducted from your balance, from your wallet balance, and the merchant would see the amount that they receive added to their Dcash balance as well, their wallet balance. So it's an instantaneous transaction, and right there, both parties will see how the transaction affected their wallet balance.
I just want to chime in as well, coming back to the fisher folk and so, you know, sometimes you go to buy fish or, you know, these small items and they're looking for change. They don't have change to give you. And so with the Dcash, you don't have that. That's hassle-free. You don't have to think about that. Or you may be driving by and they might see some nice fish, but you don't have cash on you. So you're able to ask someone, call up someone and say, you know what, can you send me some Dcash? And then you're still able to make your purchase. You know, so it really facilitates easier transacting of business.
Okay. Tony, probably this one. The business must be digitally set up. SVG is like 20 years behind. This digital wallet means all the essential business banks, Vinlec, water, cable, and other institutions, individuals, etc., need to be moving in that direction.
Totally agree. So I could answer that in two words. I totally agree with the person that a lot of the big businesses are sluggish in making that that transition. You know, I'm not necessarily criticizing Vinlec, hey, but I'm telling you, I'm just pulling them out because Tony is my friend, so he can always approach me after. But I can get all my information about my electricity bill online. Okay, my payment history and all that. So that's all fine. They have a platform. But what can't I do? I cannot make that payment there and then. There is an online payment that they have, but it's not the same thing that we're talking about here, where I can transfer money from my bank account to theirs. You know, well, that's basically what happens. There are two things with that. It's not a digital transaction, and it is also not serving the people who are unbanked. So we've really got to step up the tempo. So the person who made that comment about 20 years behind, I wouldn't put a figure on it, but I would just say, yeah, we're behind and too far behind. We have a lot of catching up to do.
And that transaction you just mentioned from your bank account to their bank account, it still takes some time now for them to get that information to update your electricity account. So it's not an instantaneous. For Dcash, we actually have an e-commerce platform where you can actually pay online directly using Dcash. So you should be able to log into their online portal and select pay with Dcash and your account updated right away. But in addition to that, which is another key area of Dcash. So we have in some businesses that issue monthly bills, whether it's electricity, telephone, cable, etc. Our solution allows them to have a code, a QR code, on the bill itself. So an individual who may not have an access to online platform. However, once they have that code and they're paying with Dcash, they use a smartphone, they scan that code, and they pay with Dcash. So they get their bill at home. in the comfort of your home. It's use their smartphone, scan that code, and their account is updated immediately, as if they were paying online. So we have offered all these efficiencies to businesses. So even if they don't have an online platform, they can still receive remote payments from Dcash customers.
Somebody's asking me what's the difference between their debit card and their wallet card.
One major difference between the Dcash and the debit or credit cards is the instantaneous payments. It takes 3 to 5 seconds and your wallet is reduced immediately and the merchant gets payment immediately. But another benefit of Dcash that you can't have with debit cards, I can send funds from myself to another Dcash wallet holder in 3 seconds. The debit card, you can't do that. So I can be in St. Kitts and send funds to somebody in St. Vincent and they get it in 3 seconds because they have a Dcash wallet and I have a Dcash wallet. With a debit card, you have to have a point of sale machine, and it has to be a payment to a point of sale. With Dcash, it doesn't have to be. You don't have to be in the same physical location. You can be in remote location and transfer funds. Thirdly, is contactless. So whereas a debit card or credit card, you have to hand the card to that individual and enter a PIN number. So there's still a lot of contact involved there. With Dcash, there's no physical contact. You can hold from about 6 to 8 inches away, scan and pay. So these are some of the benefits that Dcash would have over debit and credit card payments. And like I said, there's no cost involved for these transactions.
And there's nothing additional because, like you said, cell phone penetration in the islands is it's a high. Everybody walks around with a cell phone, so it's nothing additional that you're walking with.
And one of the things, Teresa, we did, the ECCB took all the costs for the infrastructure. So normally you find with new solutions, the commercial banks, the merchants, etc., has to invest in infrastructure. There is no investment in infrastructure costs because the ECCB has covered that cost. All the merchants need is a tablet to effect the payments. Even for the commercial banks, they don't need any additional infrastructure because we've covered that all, and we've given them access to the network so they can effect payments. So I mean, it's a benefit to all our stakeholders.
Okay, we'll take our final break and come back to talk about how we're going to educate and make people aware and sell this to everyone. Back in just a moment.
The Super 6 jackpot for Friday, July 2nd is $210,000. Super 6, more jackpot money.
More jackpot money, more reasons to play this game. More money for way. Super 6 a bigger jackpot game.
Friday, July 2nd. There'll be thousands of dollars to be won. A lotto jackpot of $61,000. A new home, car, or that college education.
Lotto, you have to be in it to win it.
Next lotto jackpot, $61,000.
This evening on the VC3 News Update, US-based organizations donates marijuana nutrient products to local traditional cannabis farmers. 2 Vincentians selected as official event ambassadors for the 2021 OECS SDM Summit. And St. Vincent and the Grenadines is presently facing the threat of being impacted by 2 weather systems. Join us at 7 p.m. for these stories and more on the VC3 News Update.
Hello and hi.
Hello everyone, I am Shakel Bob. I am a former Miss Pitani, a former Miss Rural SCG and Miss LCD contestant and runner-up. I'm a lawyer by profession but a pageant lover at heart. Do not let the negatives prey on your mind because a stitch in time saves 9. So, it's COVID vaccination time. Get vaccinated today to reduce the impact of COVID-19 in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
And I urge you, get vaccinated. It is safe and it is effective. Stop the spread, help the fight, and make the choice that is right. And let us unite and do the thing right.
Welcome back. Someone has a question asking how safe will this be from hackers and who is ensuring persons' funds in that event?
So the ECCB has used the blockchain platform for the Dcash, which is a safe and reliable IT platform. In addition to that, we've done several tests, several penetration tests, and we continually do that throughout the pilot to ensure the resilience of the network that underpins the Dcash solution. We also have several redundancies in place that ensures the robustness of the security functions of the network. In addition to that, what the ECCB has done, they have guaranteed that if there's in the unlikely event of an infrastructure failure, any transaction that is affected by it will be refunded by the ECCB. So we've given that guarantee to all our customers on the Dcash platform that although we don't expect to have infrastructure failure, in the event that it does, and the transaction affected and the person suffers a loss as a result, we will refund the person the value of that transaction. And just to add further as well, Teresa, in terms of if a person loses their phone, it's stolen, it's lost, it's destroyed, their funds are safe. Once they get a new device and they're able to log in, they will have access to their funds. Their funds are secured on the network, so losing your device does not mean that you lose your funds. If you forget your password to the app, you can go through a process to recover your password and your funds will be secured. So persons can be confident that the ECCB has taken all necessary measures to ensure that their funds are secured.
Okay, let's talk about the pilot that you still calling it a pilot, yeah? It's still a
yes,
pilot?
Yes, it's a pilot, yes.
Okay, so it's ongoing in 4 islands?
4 countries, yes, and we're hoping to have the other 4 by September.
By September. And what about St. Vincent and the Grenadines?
St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we're targeting mid-July for the launch in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So currently, we're working with the financial institutions, merchants, agencies to ensure that once we launch in mid-July, we have a good network of participants. So individuals can sign up for Dcash, but they can also have avenues to spend that Dcash, because it doesn't make sense to have Dcash in your wallet and can't spend it. So what we're doing in terms of public education, we're having radio and TV programs such as this, where we're trying to reach the public in terms of information, giving persons the chance to call in with their questions and respond to these questions. We're also going to have on-the-ground ambassadors. We're going to have a team of persons to go the length and breadth of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to inform persons about Dcash, to speak to persons one-on-one, to demonstrate how Dcash works, so that persons can get a very good understanding of Dcash. We're going to have meetings with key groups in the community, churches. We'll work with the chamber, youth groups, and other influential groups in the society to make them aware of what Dcash is and what the benefits of using Dcash are. We're also going to have brand influencers. So we're going to have persons out there who are selling Dcash. It's going to be an ongoing process. It's going to be more intensified at the start. We'll continue throughout the pilot to make sure that every citizen is aware of Dcash and persons are, encouraged to use Dcash, understanding what the benefits of Dcash are.
Okay, so between now and mid-July, what's actually happening?
So we're going to continue our engagements through the media. We're going to have more television and radio programs. We're going to have digital and printed media distributed around St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We're going to have the brand ambassadors on the ground going around to business places and individuals talking about Dcash. And we're also going to have our social media campaign. So we have our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram pages. We also have a dcashec.com website where all information about Dcash can be found, and we will have some town hall sessions as far as it's possible to educate persons about Dcash. So that's one of the activity that we're going to see coming out over the next few weeks.
Okay, you have any idea of who the merchants are that you're working with right now?
I don't have the information readily available because we just started our engagements, but we're trying. I can tell you the sectors that we're targeting initially: supermarkets, gas stations, pharmacies, bakeries, and we're going to push out now in terms of the informal sector, farmers, fishermen. But in terms of the established businesses, we're trying to see those that provide essential services as a start to make sure persons can use the Dcash to get those essential services. And also, we also want to make sure that Dcash was brought to St. Vincent and the Grenadines at this time, given the recent volcanic activities, so that persons who have relatives and family outside of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the other ECU countries have an avenue to send funds to their family members in quick time where necessary. So once persons sign up for Dcash in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, their relatives and family outside of St. Vincent and the Grenadines can send them Dcash so they can have funds readily available to spend.
And if I want to consume, whether as a merchant or a user in this pilot, what do I do?
So if you want, as a merchant, now you will have to contact your financial institution. On the dcashec.com website, we maintain the list of financial institutions as they're onboarded to the pilot. I can tell you now that RBTT will be the first financial institution that will be onboarded to the pilot. And then we have Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It should come on shortly thereafter. St. Vincent Cooperative Bank, Government Employees Credit Union, those should be coming on shortly after. And so if you're a merchant, we have an on-the-ground support team who, if you send an email from the dcashec.com website, they will contact you and they will come to your business place and explain to you how to use the app, how to sign up for the Dcash wallet, and then you just do the application to your bank for it to be approved. As an individual, like I said, you can download the app and you can just either choose to register with a code or without a code. If you choose register with a code, it will allow you to select which bank you want the code from, and the application will go to the bank. They will send you the code and you can complete the process. So for individuals, the first step would be to download the app, and then you can go through the process of registering for a register-based wallet or a value-based wallet. For a merchant, it will be to contact your financial institution to start the process.
Tony, how can the chamber facilitate this process?
So I didn't hear the first part of the question, sorry.
Tony, I was asking Tony, how can the chamber facilitate this process?
Well, I started out the program by saying to you, I mean, I'm not any special promoter of Dcash. I have members in the chamber who also are going to be offering or trying to offer similar transaction platforms. There's PaySwift, you know. There are a few other players. But of course, I think a product coming from the central bank is going to have far more leverage given the platform that they're operating from, and given the way they're able to address issues of security, you know, using blockchain. That's the top protocol that you can. I think it's out there right now, and also the assurance that your money is there when you need it. And some of the things that SHARMYN said, there's a disruption in transactions, you have a query, a challenge. I'm pretty sure the East Caribbean Central Bank is in a far better position to eat some of these losses if there are any. And the other important thing that she mentioned was the development of the infrastructure. They underwrote all of that. So, to your question, how are we going to promote Dcash, help them to do it? It fits into our overall objective, Teresa, of the education piece of getting our members and the business community and also the consumers, because it's a two-way thing, to see the importance of moving more to digital transactions. And that way, we haven't really formally spoken to SHARMYN and her team yet. I guess when she's ready for us, she'll let us know how we can help to do the education piece. So initially, that's where I see us going, you know, facilitating the East Caribbean Central Bank to get that awareness out there, get the message out there, and engage our members who, as you know, Teresa, are some of the major businesses in St. Vincent.
Okay, and just before we go, NAJUMA, how can you encourage the local business community and of course people in general to participate?
So as a business, I would say get on board with Dcash because it allows for inclusion. It encourages, persons who are not within a financial institution or so, they can still be able to transact business, right? It also assists with cross-border trade and you being able as well to purchase items using Dcash for your business or so. And just to ensure that your customers, you provide something that's new and innovative. This is the way that we're going. Like we said, it's seamless, it's easy, it's quick. All you need is your mobile phone, which most persons already have. So this Dcash definitely provides that opportunity, to have that contactless. And we've seen how COVID has disrupted our lives and, in terms of having less contact and so on. I think this initiative by the ECCB is very timely in terms of, it offers this opportunity to transact your business with less contact. So I would encourage, coming from our company, encourage businesses to get on board with Dcash. It's easy, it's simple, no additional cost to you, and you're able to include and offer this service to more of your customer base.
SHARMYN Powell, you have the last say.
Thanks, Teresa. So for me, it's just to encourage everyone to learn about Dcash and be part of this revolution. If we're going to remain relevant in the world and we want to be seen out there as moving with the time, we need to be part of this digital transformation. So my encouragement to all is to get on board, get your Dcash wallet and spend Dcash.
Thank you very much, NAJUMA, Francis Patrick, SHARMYN Powell, and Tony Regisford. Thanks to all three of you for participating in this week's edition of Roundtable Talk. Good evening. See you again next week.
Fabulous.
Yes, fabulous. It's Fabulous 500. Another $5 scratch game from the NLE. Loaded with $500 cash prizes.
With a top prize of $25,000.
You have 10 chances to win.
Fabulous $500. There's cash to catch with just a scratch. Fabulous. Fabulous 500.
More jackpot money, more reasons to play this game. More money for way. Super 6 a bigger jackpot game.
The Super 6 jackpot for Friday, July 2nd is $210,000. Super 6, more jackpot money.
More jackpot money, more reasons to play this game. More money for way. Super 6 a bigger jackpot game.
Erasmus Wiley Glasgow, and I'm feeling perfectly fine. I just had the vaccine and I'm trying to encourage each and everyone to come and get the vaccine. It's important. Life goes on, but with this vaccine, it makes it even easier. Because of the field we are in, we are actually at the front. So each taxi driver should come and take this vaccine because trust me, it will be important to each and every one of us going forward.
Do not procrastinate, but rather let us vaccinate.
Friday, July 2nd, there'll be thousands of dollars to be won. A lotto jackpot of $61,000. A new home, car, or that college education.
Lotto, you have to be in it to win it.
Next lotto jackpot, $61,000.
This evening on the VC3 News Update, US-based organizations donates marijuana nutrient products to local traditional cannabis farmers. Two Vincentians selected as official event ambassadors for the 2021 OECS SDM Summit. And St. Vincent and the Grenadines is presently facing the threat of being impacted by two weather systems. Join us at 7 p.m. for these stories and more.